Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. My name is Jessica Anderson and I'm the project manager for the Springbank ASP review. The intent of this video is to share with you the materials that our team would have provided at an open house. Being that public events are not permitted at this time, we wanted to provide this video to ensure you have everything you need to participate in the next steps of the process. We are now in the last phase of the project. We have had 3 open houses to date and many opportunities to connect with you over email, phone calls, and coffee chats. The last events were held in June 2019, where a pre-release draft of the Springbank ASP was presented online and in coffee chat sessions. We have made edits to the draft based on your feedback and the findings of the technical studies. We will make further amendments based on the feedback we received during this phase, and once we have a final council-ready version of the plan, we will schedule a public hearing date, hopefully in July of this year. By now, for those that have been involved with the process to date, you probably have a good idea of what an area structure plan is. It is a high-level document that looks at the growth and development of a specific area within a set of boundaries. ASPs look at physical development, including roads, pathways, parks and land use, such as residential and business land uses, and they also deal with servicing related to transportation, water, wastewater, and stormwater. The focus of the Springbank ASP is to develop a vision and set of policies that guide the growth and development of a comprehensive community. A comprehensive community is one that provides employment opportunities, services, recreational facilities, and most importantly, homes to residents. The vision statement was developed based on what we heard from the community in early phases of the project and provides an idea of what Springbank could look like in the future. It incorporates the visions of the existing ASPs in the area and is intended to be a reflection of the existing community. The vision incorporates all areas of the plan, including residential, business, open space and recreation, and servicing aspects to ensure it describes a complete community. There are 16 goals that guide the Springbank ASP. These goals are based on several factors, including policy direction of the interim growth plan, the county plan and the intermunicipal development plan, the existing physical characteristics of the area, and the key issues, constraints, and opportunities identified during the planning process. The goal topic areas are as shown. We won't discuss all of them here, but each of them guides an aspect of the plan and by extension, the vision. Each section of the plan establishes goals and the policies or the mechanisms to implement each of those goals. The Springbank ASP is a kind of blueprint for landowners and developers for the future. The plan is divided into 3 parts: the introduction, which includes the vision and goals, and the plan policies, which include land use policies, which address the various land use areas as identified in the plan, open space and recreation policies, infrastructure policies for transportation, utility servicing, stormwater, emergency services, and environment. And finally, implementation and coordination policies for local plan and application submission requirements and action items to be completed after adoption of the plan. You'll notice we have reformatted the document to a more readable and user-friendly format. While recognizing the document is lengthy, the new format is intended to make the document more accessible. And most notably, the servicing, transportation, and environmental sections have been completed with the support of technical assessments. These technical assessments are available on our website and inform the policies contained within the plan. This map shows the land use strategy, and I'd like to touch on the most significant changes since the pre-release draft. Lands previously identified as Special Planning Area 1 along the Highway 1 corridor have been moved to urban interface, as significant planning work has commenced on these lands. Lands south of the hamlet of Harmony, previously identified as future expansion, have been moved to hamlet interface, as these lands have been identified for some commercial and residential uses in the near future. I'd like to now speak a bit more about the specific land use areas and what forms of development may be appropriate in each. The majority of Springbank will continue to develop in the traditional country residential and new cluster residential forms, providing a range of opportunities for rural living. Most residents will live in areas composed mainly of single-family dwellings with opportunities for other forms of housing where appropriate. The Springbank ASP plans for an ultimate population of 23,000 with an average net density of 0.93 units per acre. Ultimate build-out will take some time, and it will be dependent on a range of factors including access to servicing and regional growth patterns. The draft plan attempts to offer a scenario for full build-out while providing policies that allow flexibility for changing future circumstances. This target was determined through planning and engineering reviews as well as stakeholder consultation and feedback. The current plan provides for a population of around 19,000 for reference. The areas identified as cluster residential are largely intact quarter sections with potential for connectivity and different forms of development. Cluster residential design sensitively integrates housing with the natural features and topography of a site by grouping homes on smaller lots to a minimum of a half acre, while permanently preserving a significant amount of open space for conservation, recreation, or small-scale agricultural uses. Principles of cluster development suggest half or more of the buildable land area is designated as permanent open space. Servicing efficiencies are achieved through reduced footprints and reduced infrastructure runs. Much of Springbank has been developed in the traditional country residential form, but many areas are only partially developed with fragmented pockets of country residential and agricultural lots. The plan provides policies to enable a gradual infilling of 1 to 2 acre lots subject to the following considerations being addressed: land use transition, transportation and access, the active transportation network, servicing, stormwater, and compatibility with adjacent lands. A key aspect of these policies is the ability to address important land use and technical aspects of development through an infill plan rather than a local plan or conceptual scheme as has been required in the past. For lands identified as infill in the land use strategy, you will find a corresponding map in Appendix C of the plan that highlights some important considerations for each area. There are 5 special planning areas identified within the plan. These areas require special consideration given their location adjoining the municipal boundary with the City of Calgary and adjacent to the transportation corridors of Highway 1, Stony Trail, or Highway 8. These areas have the potential for a higher intensity of development comparative to the country residential designation they previously held under the Central Springbank ASP, so a mix of commercial and residential development is envisioned for the special planning areas. Detailed land use planning is not possible at this time until further collaboration with the City of Calgary is undertaken to coordinate land use planning and to determine the appropriate transition from an urban to country residential development form. As well, how these areas will obtain water and wastewater servicing and impacts upon transportation infrastructure will be important considerations in planning these areas. To ensure that the transition from agricultural land uses to possible future business and residential land uses is logical, the ASP has identified lands where expansion of the plan area may occur. 2 future expansion areas have been identified, one adjacent to Highway 1 and the Springbank Airport, and the other north of the hamlet of Harmony, that should be preserved until criteria is met for further development. Timelines for the planning and development of these future expansion areas will be dependent on several technical considerations and the ongoing development of higher-level municipal and regional planning policy documents. The current North Springbank ASP identifies the area around the airport and along the Highway 1 corridor as business areas. The county plan defined these areas as a highway business area and a regional business center around the Springbank Airport. This plan further identifies specific land uses that may be appropriate for these areas. 4 types of business areas are identified as follows. Commercial has been identified along the Highway 1 corridor and Range Road 33 North to supplement existing and proposed commercial uses. Some commercial provides a balance in the community and offers opportunities for residents. New and existing industrial uses that benefit from close proximity to Highway 1 and the airport will continue to be encouraged. Development will accommodate a combination of office and industrial activity where there may be some on-site nuisance factors. These lands are not suitable for many forms of development due to the restrictions imposed by the airport's noise exposure forecast areas. A business transition area comprised of a small number of country residential lots located east of the Springbank Airport recognizes these existing residential areas and will allow for their continuation until such time as those landowners deem transition to business uses is appropriate and/or desirable. The cluster live-work development areas are envisioned as small-scale commercial uses that provide local services and employment opportunities within Springbank, such as a dental office or art gallery. They are intended to integrate and blend with surrounding residential, commercial, and public uses, through high-quality design and open space connections. These lands are located in key transition zones surrounding commercial and community use areas. Providing space and facilities for recreation, culture, and institutional uses within Springbank is a key component of encouraging a sense of place and community cohesion. In receiving community feedback, Range Road 33 was considered by many landowners to be the community core. The area already features a number of spaces for educational, community, and religious assembly uses. The intention of the institutional and community service area is to allow these existing uses to expand alongside complementary development to establish a focus for the Springbank community. Now let's turn to the technical considerations. The County has prepared the Springbank Transportation Network Analysis. The plan identifies regional and local infrastructure needed to accommodate new growth. This map details the ultimate road network that would be required to accommodate regional growth plus the ASP-related development envisioned in the plan. It identifies the number of lanes and required intersection improvements. It also identifies major improvements such as the future potential interchange along Highway 1 between Range Road 40 and Range Road 34. Planning ahead for infrastructure improvements helps the county to protect adequate right-of-way and phase improvements over time. All new applications would be assessed with these long-term needs in mind. With respect to water and wastewater servicing, development in the Springbank area has historically relied on standalone utilities such as groundwater wells, private water cooperatives, and septic fields. These will still be suitable in many cases, but with new development aspirations and anticipated population for the Springbank area, the long-term sustainability and health of the area and its residents necessitates a new approach to water and wastewater servicing, specifically a shift in focus from private sewage disposal to decentralized or regional disposal systems. In support of the plan, a technical assessment of water and wastewater servicing options was completed. The key objective of the assessment was to determine if a cost-effective servicing system that provides efficient and sustainable municipal services to support the proposed land use strategy is feasible for the plan area. The Springbank ASP servicing strategy evaluated multiple servicing options and determined that there are options available. Map 10, Water Service, and Map 11, Wastewater, depict the most viable options at this time. They envision an upgrade to the Harmony Water and Wastewater treatment plants, an extension of infrastructure to the areas identified on the slide. Any new utility infrastructure would be developed through submissions of local plans for new development proposals. Most importantly, the study demonstrates servicing options and confirms that the land use strategy is feasible from a technical perspective. We have heard throughout the process concerns around groundwater, stormwater, and drainage. The Springbank area is made up of several stormwater catchment areas, with 4 flowing north to the Bow River and 5 flowing south towards the Elbow River. The protection of these 2 important natural resources is imperative for the sustainable growth and development of not only Springbank but all downstream municipalities. The Springbank Master Drainage Plan, adopted by Council in 2016, provides policy and implementation strategies to ensure stormwater from future development is properly managed. It establishes the rate and volume control requirements of stormwater flow from new development and provides recommendations for effective best management practices in the region. Now let's turn to the next steps in the process. The ASP bylaw will be presented for Council's consideration on April 28, 2020. This is not a public hearing, but if first reading is granted, the plan may continue through the process to a public hearing. We will be receiving your feedback until May 17th, and then we will make appropriate amendments to the plan in May and early June. We have targeted a public hearing and second reading of the bylaw for July 2020. This will be the opportunity for public input, so stay tuned for further details. If second reading is granted, the County will submit the application to the Calgary Metropolitan Region Board over the summer and proceed to third and final reading in September. This is when the plan would be adopted by Council. If after reviewing this video presentation and supporting documents on our webpage, you have additional questions or feedback, please contact me at janderson@rockyview.ca or 403-520-8184. The project team would be happy to chat over the phone, email, or a video chat. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you.